Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you for watching. Today I will be making some buffalo check Christmas DIYs. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up. And now let's craft. Starting with my first project, I will be using this window clean that has a little truck, the happy holidays, the barn, some trees, and snowflakes. This one right here was 98 cents at Walmart, and I'm using this wooden round circle that I got from the Dollar Tree. I removed the string hanger, but I saved that because I will be adding it back later on. Using the Dollar Tree painter's tape, I will be making 3 sections. Now the section in the middle, make sure that it's big enough where the happy holidays fits there. Once I am done adding the tape, now I'm going to paint the top and the bottom using the Waverly Antique Wax. And this is how it looks. Now for this next step, you do have 2 options. You can either add the happy holidays or the little truck. I decided to add the happy holidays, so to glue this I will be using Mod Podge. To decorate this some more, I'm adding some of the Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon. I'm adding 2 little pieces, one at the top and one at the bottom. This is also going to hide where some of that antique wax bled out. Once I am done doing that, I'm adding some greenery to the side with a small little buffalo check bow. To finish this off, I will be adding the string back on, but first I'm adding some of these beads that I recently found at the Dollar Tree. I found some white and some black, so I am going to mix those up. And that is it for this happy holidays, which I think it turned out so cute. For my next project, I will be using the same sheet of the window clings and this Dollar Tree decor sign. So I'm going to start by removing the string and this image from this decor sign. Now I was very careful that I didn't tear the buffalo check paper. I'm going to set this to the side, then remove the paper from the piece I removed. And once I am done clearing all that up, I'm going to use some scrapbooking paper that I'm going to add to the front of this instead. I couldn't find my glue stick, so I'm using some Mod Podge instead. Sometimes when adding scrapbooking paper, I don't like using Mod Podge because I feel like it bubbles more than when I use my glue stick. And this is how it looks. I did try to remove most of the bubbles, but I couldn't. Now it's okay because I will be adding the truck on top of all that, and that is going to cover it. To glue the truck, I will be using some Mod Podge, and as you can see, I accidentally poured way too much, so I'm going to just pour it back in the jar. Once it's dry, I'm going to add this piece back on the other piece, and as you can see, some of the tree is sticking out, which I honestly just left it like that, and I did put a little bit Mod Podge at the end and I glued it to the other piece. Adding a little jute twine bow to the front of the truck, and I decided to add some of the snowflakes on the empty spaces. And that is it. Look how cute the little truck turned out. For my next project, I will be using this black and white Christmas window cling from Walmart, which was 98 cents. And 2 of these Dollar Tree signs, which I love because they already come in the color black, so I don't have to paint them. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the pumpkins off. Since I'm making a large sign, I will be gluing these together, and I'm using some of the Walmart paint stir sticks. I usually add some popsicle sticks on the back for extra support. You can do that. I'm not doing that since I'm not adding anything heavy, and I feel like with these paint stir sticks it is enough. For this project, I will be using the Merry Christmas sign, and I'm adding some Mod Podge so I can glue this to my sign. For the next step, I'm going to give you 3 different options. Option number 1 is use the Christmas tree that came with this window cling. Option number 2 is add a wreath, which that is what I was going to do. I was going to make a wreath, but I didn't have the greenery that I wanted to use, or I didn't have enough. So I ended up just using the Dollar Tree vinyl instead to cut out a Christmas tree and add that. So I made a Christmas tree out of paper, and that is what I use as my stencil. The next thing I will be doing is drilling 2 holes to the top part to add a hanger. For the hanger, I will be using one of the strings that came with one of the signs. I'm adding some black and white beads from the Dollar Tree. To finish this off, I will be adding a jute twine bow to the tree. But that is it for this Merry Christmas sign, which honestly, this is my favorite project. For my next project, I will be using the same sheet of window clings and this Dollar Tree 5x7 picture frame. Honestly, this is going to be so quick and simple. The first thing I'm going to do is use some of the Hobby Lobby scrapbooking paper to add this as the back. Now, I'm not gluing this or anything to the glass or even to the back piece of the picture frame. I'm going to simply just add it if it was like a picture, and then I'm going to flip the frame around and add some of this buffalo check vinyl from the Dollar Tree. I'm only adding a little small stripe to the bottom part, and I'm adding this to the glass. After adding it, I felt like it was too big, so I do end up trimming it down. Then adding some of the snowflakes just here and there. And honestly, that is it. I didn't have to use Mod Podge since this is glass and this is for windows. But that is it, guys. Look how cute this turned out. For my next project, I will be using this window clean that I got from Walmart, which was actually a little bit more expensive than the other ones. This was $1.98, but this was different. The texture of the images are so much prettier and nicer than the other ones. The Dollar Tree item I will be using is this frame, which I love using these because these are so easy to work with and so easy to remove the back and the paper. I'm using the same Dollar Tree vinyl to add a stripe to the top and to the bottom. Now for the center, I will be using some white vinyl. Mine is from Cricut, but Dollar Tree does carry white vinyl that you can use instead. Once I am done adding the vinyl, I'm adding the frame. Once I am done adding the vinyl, I'm adding the back on the frame, turning it around, and then I'm adding the peace and joy. The texture on this window cling is so different. It is like bold, something like that. I do not know how to describe this, but it is not flat. And it's also glittery, but it's not that glitter where it's like so sparkly and the glitter falls everywhere. The peace and joy do come separately. I'm adding it I'm adding some Mod Podge once again. I do want to mention that the word peace and joy did come separately. I thought it was like a whole sticker that came together. So you can add these like on one whole line. You don't have to do it like one at the top and one at the bottom. Instead of adding enjoy more in the center, I did add it more on the side. So on the empty space, I can add some of these little stars. And that is all I'm doing. And look how pretty this turned out. For my next project, I will be using the same sheet, and I'm using the Merry Christmas that it's at the bottom and this Dollar Tree wood sign. The first thing I'm going to do is add 2 stripes of the Dollar Tree vinyl, and I'm adding them on the side. I'm adding this to match the rest of my DIYs, and also this is going to cover the little holes that this sign has. When I first started doing this, I honestly thought that the Merry Christmas was gonna look bigger on the sign, but once I added it, it looks so small. So instead, I cut this and made it into 2 different pieces, and I'm adding some of these Dollar Tree wood Christmas trees. I'm adding 3 of them in total. This one right here, I got it last year. It is wider than the ones Dollar Tree is carrying this year. For the smaller trees, I will be cutting the start off and painting in the same color using the Waverly Antique Wax. And this is the way I'm going to glue them. I'm gluing the trees on one side and the Merry Christmas on the other side. To finish this off, I will be making a small little jute twine bow and add it to the Christmas tree in the middle. But that is it. Look how cute this Merry Christmas sign turned out. I will be using one of the deer heads. I'm going to remove the hanger. Now this is cardboard, this is not wood. So instead of filling in the holes that the antlers have, I am going to cut them off. I'm going to paint the deer head using the apple barrel acrylic paint in burnt umber. I'm going to set this to the side and let it dry. Meanwhile, I'm going to work on this Dollar Tree long sign. Now, I got this recently, that's why it has a pumpkin, but I'm pretty sure Dollar Tree is going to carry some with Christmas designs on it, which it doesn't really matter because that is going to be covered up. Now, I am going to paint this using some white chalk paint. Then, using whatever was left over on the sponge, I did distress this to make it look more rustic. Oh my gosh, I love how this turned out. Now the next thing I will be doing is just gluing the deer head, and I am going to make sure that it's going to cover that pumpkin. Now the next thing I will be adding is the word joy. I am using these Walmart burlap letters. They were under $4 the pack, which honestly it's such a great buy. But you can use Dollar Tree poster sticker letters instead if you want. Now, I didn't have a J, so I made a U into a J. These letters come with adhesive, so it's very easy to add them to the sign. To finish decorating my sign, I will be adding some greenery with some berries. Now, I got these last year, I think from Walmart. I'm not sure. I haven't been to Dollar Tree yet, and I really haven't found anything Christmas besides these deer heads. Now, I'm going to just add them underneath the head with a bow. And that is it for this joy sign. I absolutely love how this turned out. Let me know down in the comment section what you would have added to the sign. For my next project, I will be using this Dollar Tree food container and one of the deer heads. Now, I'm only using the antlers for this. I decided to fill in the holes for these instead of cutting them, but cutting them is actually the easiest way. Now, once this is filled and dry, I'm going to paint the antlers using the burnt umber. Using the Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon, I'm going to glue this all around the container. Then I'm going to glue the antlers inside. And that is it for this. Now the last thing I did was just add some Christmas greenery. I just put whatever I had left over from last year. I cannot wait to go to Dollar Tree or Walmart to find new things. And look how beautiful this turned out. From Dollar Tree, I will be using 2 of these wood planks. Now, they did have a tag, but I removed them. And I'm going to save it because I will be adding one of them later on. Now, I'm going to make a larger sign with these 2. And to do that, I am attaching them together using some popsicle sticks. I'm using hot glue to glue these together since the front is going to be nothing heavy on it. Now, I'm going to add some of this wood filler to the little holes in the center. The other 2, I am going to leave them just like that so I can add the hanger. I let this dry for a couple of hours. Then I use a scent sheet to smooth that out. To paint my sign, I'm using some white chalk paint, but I had run out, so I had to improvise. And I added some water, and this also made this look more washed out. But I still like how this turned out. Now I'm going to let this dry. Meanwhile, I am going to work on the Christmas tree I will be adding. Now this Christmas tree, I was going to add it to the sign instead of doing this buffalo check Christmas tree, but it was too big. The little bottom of the tree was like sticking out of the sign. So instead I decided to make a tree out of this buffalo check vinyl. This vinyl is from Cricut, but Dollar Tree does carry some white buffalo check vinyl that you can use instead. Also Hobby Lobby, Michaels carry craft paper that you can use instead. Now to trace the tree, even though this is bigger, I am going to make it thinner. And to do that, I'm going to just trace one side of the tree first and then the other side, but move it more towards like the center so it's a lot thinner. And this is how it looks once I cut it. As you can see, now it's going to fit. I'm going to simply add this like if it was a sticker. I did not use the transfer paper because it was just gonna waste it. Making our Christmas memories. And look how beautiful this looks. Now the next thing I will be adding is this believe sign that I got from the Dollar Tree. It comes in a 2-pack. I am going to paint it using the Waverly Antique Wax. Then I'm going to add it to the bottom of the tree. Working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. To make this look more rustic, I am going to add some antique wax on all the edges, and I did distress a little bit of the front, which honestly I absolutely love how this turned out. The last thing I will be doing is adding one of the strings back on, but first I'm going to add some of these beads that I already had. Dollar Tree does carry wood beads that you can use instead. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new. Cause I missed you, so I'm late. And that is it for this Christmas sign. Look how beautiful this turned out. For my next project, I will be using one of these Dollar Tree little houses. I'm using the wider, I think this is a bigger one too. But anyways, I'm going to remove the back, the paper, and I'm going to paint the frame using the Waverly Antique Wax. I ran out of the buffalo check vinyl, so instead I used some of this craft paper that I already had. This is from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to just trace this and cut it to size. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to glue this. I couldn't find my Elmer's glue stick, so I used this Dollar Tree one instead. Once this was dry, I did glue the back on the frame.
These are the good times with you, baby. This year it's just gonna be you and me, hang by the fire.
And look how beautiful this looks. Now you can add whatever you like to this. I did find this little DIY pack that had these little Christmas trees that I am going to paint using some white chalk paint, and I'm going to add the word farm fresh. I got this word from the Dollar Tree little DIY packs. It's actually from the fall, but I felt like this farm fresh went perfectly for this. And that is it for this cute little house. I think this is so beautiful, and it goes perfect on a tray or tier tray. If you're enjoying my content, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. For my next project, I will be using one of these Dollar Tree wood trays. I'm going to paint like the border, no, not the border, like the sides. There you go, the sides using the Waverly Antique Wax, and the inside white.
Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you.
I had some small extra pieces of the buffalo check vinyl, so I decided to add a little stripe to one of the sides on the inside of my tray.
Close, forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.
And the last thing I did, I remember I had this bear that I had cut out a long time ago using my Cricut, and I decided that this went perfect for this. I added it to the center, and that is it, guys. That is it for this beautiful decorative tray. Alright, so for my next project, I will be using these antlers. I was going to say ears, but the antlers from this deer head that I used in my previous video. I am going to use some of the wood filler to fill in the little holes. Then I'm going to paint it using the burnt umber. Now, once these are dry, I'm going to set them to the side, and I'm going to show you the sign I use. This is an old sign that I had that I never added anything to it, but it's one of them signs that had the beautiful frame. This was already painted, but I decided to paint it a little more just to make it more wider. I then made this look more rustic using the sponge paintbrush with the antique wax. Once this was dry, I added the pieces back that made the frame.
Making our Christmas memories. for you.
I was then trying to figure out where I wanted to add these. I don't know if I wanted them more towards the top or the bottom, but then I decided to add them more towards the top. As you can see, they don't fit, but if you put it more like inward, they'll fit, but it looks kind of funny. And I also wanted to cover the little hole that the frame had, so that's why I decided to just do it more wide. Hopefully it made sense. But anyways, the antler cover the first hole, and the greenery that I'm going to add, it is going to cover the second hole. The greenery I'm using, it is from last year. I just grabbed several pieces that I had and I tied them together. I then glued it in the center. Now to finish it off, I added this beautiful buffalo check bow I made out of this ribbon that I got from Walmart.
I've been hanging marbles
And that is it for this sign, which I think it turned out beautiful. Let me know down in the comment section which one was your favorite, because I would love to know. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, bye. Alright, so these are the two kits I found at the Dollar Tree. One has the little snowman and one has a house with other little items that I will be showing you later on. So for my first project, I'm going to start with this Dollar Tree sign, which I absolutely love the background, even the image in the front, but it's just not my style. So I'm going to carefully remove it. Even though I try to be very careful and I even use my blow dryer, I still ripped some of the paper off. But that is okay because I'm still using this front piece, which I'm going to just decorate it differently. Now I'm going to remove the paper in the front. Then I'm using this wood plank paper that I got from Hobby Lobby. Going to cut it to size, then use hot glue to glue this. Oh, sorry, not hot glue. This glue stick. And now I'm going to simply glue it back on. Going to set this to the side, and I'm going to show you the first kit I'm using, which is this one that has these trees with this little house and some of these smaller little items, which is a gift, a candy cane, and a smaller tree. So for this project, I will be using the trees, which I'm going to paint using the Waverly Antique Wax. Once this is dry, I'm going to glue it to my sign. Now you can do this vertical or horizontal, whichever you like. And for the word at the top, you can use some of the Dollar Tree wood little pieces like this one that says Farm Fresh, but instead I decided to use the Dollar Tree vinyl and my Cricut to cut out the word Merry Christmas. You can also use some of the Dollar Tree stickers. So once I'm done cutting this, I'm going to just transfer this to my sign. Look how beautiful this looks. The next thing I will be doing is using the same little hanger that I removed and adding some of these little beads. I also got these from the Dollar Tree, and this completes this beautiful Merry Christmas sign. For my next project, I will be using this new 5x7 picture frame that I got from the Dollar Tree. Well, I'm not sure if it's new, but it is new to me. I recently found this. I'm going to simply remove the back, and I'm using some of this buffalo check paper that I got from Hobby Lobby. Or wait, I think Michael's. One or the other, but they both carry them. I'm going to just cut it to size, and then I'm going to glue this, and I'm gluing it to this mirror. No, it's not even a mirror, I'm sorry. To the glass instead of the little backing of this, because the little backing of it, it's like so flimsy. And yeah, so I decided to just glue this to the glass. I will be using the glue stick. Now I'm going to use another of the kits, and I'm using the one with a little house. I did grab two of those and one with a snowman. But for this project, I'm going to cut off this tree at the end, and I'm using some scissors. I'm also using the little house that comes in this kit, which I'm going to paint. And the house, I'm going to paint it using the Waverly Antique Wax, and the tree I'm going to paint white. I used a piece of a popsicle stick that I had that was painted white to add the word joy. Now you can use the Dollar Tree little black stickers, or you can use your Cricut or other stickers, which I'm using these that I got from Walmart. I'm going to put the word joy. So the popsicle stick was too big, and I did end up cutting it more. Once everything was dried, I glued it to the frame, and honestly I felt like the house looked too dark, so I do end up painting it white. And that is it for this beautiful Joy Christmas sign. For my next project, I will be using this little cute cutting board wood plaque that I found at the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to paint this using the Waverly Antique Wax. Now I knew I wanted to add some of the scrap of pink paper, but I wasn't sure how much of it, so I only left a little square in the center without painting it. But at the end, I actually ended up adding way more scrap of pink paper than what I thought. I'm going to just trace it and then cut it. I will be tracing most of the handle part, but since I didn't have enough paper, I only went up to where the paper finished. Once I'm done doing this, I'm going to simply glue this using my glue stick. And look how cute this looks. Now I will be using my other DIY kit. This is the one with the snowman. I feel like this went perfect because it did have this Christmas little wood sign that it fitted perfectly there. I'm also using two trees, which I'm going to cut one of them, or actually I'm cutting both of them to make one, which is going to make the tree bigger. Once I was gluing this, I added a piece of popsicle stick to the back to make it sturdier, and then painted it using the Waverly Antique Wax. To decorate the tree, I will be adding some jute twine around it, and then I'm going to glue this to the corner of the sign or the cutting board. On the other side, I will be adding the Christmas wood sign, but I'm going to glue it sideways. Now to finish this off, I will be adding this little cute buffalo check bow that I had. And that is it for this cutting board. Look how cute this turned out. For my next project, I will be using 2 of the Dollar Tree wood hanging decor signs. This wood plank that accidentally broke, which honestly I was going to just cut it in half, and this deer head that I got from the Dollar General, which was $1. Going to start by attaching both of these wood signs together using some Dollar Tree jumbo popsicle sticks.
Time of year, winter wonderland. My winter wonderland is the time of year. My winter wonderland, my winter wonderland. I wanna sing about the Christmas on its way.
Then I'm going to paint my sign using some white chalk paint, which I added water, and this little sponge had some brown, I think, on it, or some antique wax, and I still used it. I actually like the color this made it look.
To hang around and celebrate this day. Everyone's smiling and it's snowing.
Before I add the other wood pieces, I will be adding the hanger, which I use a piece of jute twine and some Dollar Tree beads.
It's the time of year again. I'm happy you're here. My winter wonderland.
I started off painting the wood pieces with the antique wax, but then I decided that I wanted these to look darker, so I did add a little bit of black paint. Once these were dry, I did add them to my sign. I added the smaller piece at the top and the bigger piece at the bottom. Now I'm going to add the deer head, but instead of adding it in the center, I will be adding it more towards the top because I will be adding some greenery underneath it. Before I add the greenery, I'm adding this rejoice sign that I already had. Now I was going to add a believe Dollar Tree wood sign, but I remember I already had this and it was already painted, so I just used this. Now I'm going to add this greenery that I got from Walmart, and I will be adding a bow in between both of these picks. And that is it for this sign. The last thing I did was add a little bit of black where the little hole was at, but other than that, that is it. Look how beautiful this turned out. Be using this round charger plate, which is so pretty. It already comes with a happy holidays. I seen some without the words, but I really love this one. I will be adding a Christmas tree in the center. These Dollar Tree foam trees are perfect for this. Now the green tree already looks so pretty here, but I wanted a white tree instead, so I'm using vinyl. I'm going to trace it, cut it, then add it like a sticker. The vinyl I'm using is from Cricut, but Dollar Tree does carry white vinyl that you can use instead. And look how pretty this looks. Now you can use it as a charger plate, but instead I'm going to use this as a decor sign. So I will be adding some of these Dollar Tree little snowflakes, which I'm going to paint white. I wasn't sure where to add them, either beside the tree, and I didn't like how that looked, so I then went ahead and added them on the other side of the other snowflakes, or one on each side. To finish it off, I added a burlap bow to the tree. And that is it, guys. The last thing is just to add a hanger if you like. I chose not to because I will be using one of the Dollar Tree picture stands. For my next project, I will be using one of the rectangle chargers, which for this project, you can either make this horizontal or vertical. I will be making mine vertical. Now, I didn't have any wood letters, which I thought I did. I probably do somewhere, but I'm using these burlap letters that I got from Walmart. Now, you can add them just regular like that, but I decided to paint mine white. Now if you don't have some of these burlap letters or wood letters, you can always use the Dollar Tree vinyl and cut out the words and use those instead. I ended up not using the letter O, only the J and the Y. For the O, I decided to make a wreath instead. So I'm using the Dollar Tree garland ties to make a wreath and some of the Dollar Tree greenery to add it to my little wreath. To add the greenery to the wreath, instead of gluing it, I will be using some jute twine and tying it in the center. I will be adding some berries to my wreath. I'm using the ones from Walmart. I know Dollar Tree carries little berries that you can use instead. Now I'm using the same string to like add them in there, so I don't have to like retie them or glue them. Once I'm done doing this, I will be making a small burlap bow and adding it to the center. To add the wreath, I will be using the same burlap, adding it to the wreath, and then gluing that burlap to the charger. And that is it. That is all I did to this. Look how pretty this turned out. For my next project, I will be using another of the rectangle chargers and some of the Dollar Tree craft sticks. Now, these are the larger ones. They do carry these and a smaller version of these. I'm going to start by laying them on top of the charger and cutting the ends. So only 2 of them fit per row, and I added the longer ones first. Once I was adding the longer ones, I then cut the little smaller ones that will fit on the other smaller little sections Hopefully I made sense. But right here, I haven't glued them yet. Once I am done cutting them, I will be gluing them. Now you can paint them first and then glue them, but I decided to glue mine first and then paint them. And this is how it looks. Now honestly, you don't have to paint this. This already looks pretty without painting this, but I decided to paint mine using the Waverly Antique Wax. The next thing I will be doing is adding some handles using this Dollar Tree nautical rope. This is going to be a decorative tray, so I do recommend you using a heavier duty glue if you're planning to add something heavy to this, or if you're planning to use the little handles. Now to secure this some more, I did add pieces of that burlap ribbon. And that is it for this project. Look how pretty and cute this decorative tray turned out. For my next project, I will be using this house. Now, I got this from Target last year from the dollar spot. It was $3. And from Dollar Tree, I'm using this sign, well, only the tree. I did remove the tree from the sign and add it to the house. Using a small brush and some black paint, I'm going to add this part of the Christmas tree. I'm going to add home for the holidays. For the word home, I'm using one of these laser cut out wood letters that I got from the Dollar Tree to come in a pack. I'm going to cut the end of the H and a little bit of the E so it can fit here. Then I'm going to paint it using the Waverly Antique Wax. For the rest, I'm using the Dollar Tree little stickers, or actually only for the word holidays. I decided to do that with my own handwriting. I was gonna use my Cricut, but it was already late at night, so instead I decided to just handwrite it myself and then use this black paint marker. Now I did kind of mess it up. The letter S at the end, I put it way too high. To fix that up, I used some of the Dollar Tree alcohol and a Q-tip, and I removed the S and I redid it. The last thing I will be doing is adding a jute twine bow to the tree, and that is it for this cute house that says home for the holidays. For my next project, I will be using this Dollar Tree white plastic vase. Now I'm going to make this into a two-tone vase. To start off, I will be painting the bottom half using some white chalk paint. Now this is the easiest way to add some antique wax to this. So once this was dried, I went over it with some antique wax. To match this to the rest of my decor, I decided to add some of this buffalo check ribbon, which is actually a bow that I took apart and then I added it to the vase. I then added some of the small burlap ribbon in the center. Using the same burlap ribbon, I made a bow and added this to the front. The greenery I'm using is from Dollar Tree and the berries are from Walmart. But that is it. Look how cute this vase turned out and I absolutely love this. It looks so pretty on the tray or right next to the Happy Holiday sign. From Dollar Tree, I will be using two of their large signs, this little truck, and from Michael's, I got the Merry and Bright. Since these Dollar Tree signs have the pumpkins at the top, I am going to just cut that off and I use my jigsaw for this. To attach these together, I will be using some large Dollar Tree popsicle sticks. To paint this sign, I did use a mixture of the Waverly Antique Wax and a little bit of black paint. I did add a lot of black and I didn't like how dark it looks, so I used a wet napkin and removed some of the paint off. And honestly, this color turned out so beautiful. For the truck, I will be using the apple barrel acrylic paint in red flag, and then for the wheels and the trunk part, I will be using some black paint. Using a paint marker, I did some details to the truck so it didn't look so flat. This Merry and Bright wood DIY sign, I got it from Michael's. Its original price is $2.99, but since it's on sale right now, I got it for $1.79, which honestly is such a great price for this. Now that my sign is dry, I'm going to glue the truck and the words to the sign. Starting with the truck, which honestly I should have added the tree first and then the truck, but I wasn't thinking. So now I'm going to add these trees, which come from this Dollar Tree sign, which the sign I will be using it in my next project. Once I am done adding the trees, I'm going to just add the Merry and Bright. I found these little wreaths that I got from Dollar General for $1, and I will be adding one to the truck, and that is it for this beautiful Merry and Bright sign. For my next project, I will be using 2 of these Dollar Tree large signs. I'm going to remove the string that comes with these and attach these together using some Dollar Tree popsicle sticks. The strings were stapled and it left some little holes, so I used a piece of cinch to smooth that out. Then I painted the sign with the antique wax and I added a little bit of water so I left it streaky. For this project, I will be using this Merry Christmas wood sign that I got from Hobby Lobby. Its original price was $2.99, but I got it when it was 60% off for $1.79. So I'm going to glue this, and I'm going to glue it on the side instead of the center. On the empty side, I will be adding some trees that I will be making out of these Dollar Tree buffalo check vinyls. And I'm using this little tree as a guide. I cut out 4 trees in total, 2 of the black and white and 2 of the black and red. Now I'm going to add 1 of each of the trees, and then I will be making a 3rd tree using both of the colors. So hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so this next part it was kind of hard for me to explain it. I tried to explain it twice, but honestly I couldn't even understand what I was saying. So I'm going to just let you watch what I did instead of me trying to explain it, but it is very easy and simple. And this is how they look. Now I'm going to add the trunk or this part of the tree using a black paint marker. The last thing I did is add some sawtooth hooks to the back so I can hang this. And that is it for this beautiful Merry Christmas sign. For my next project, I will be using 1 of these Dollar Tree wood hanging decor sign. I'm going to remove the string and I'm going to paint it white. Now my paintbrush was a little bit dirty, so it did leave it with a little bit of streakiness, which I honestly like the effect it gave it. Now I'm going to make a tree using the Dollar Tree vinyl, and I use this tree that I removed from this Dollar Tree sign as a guide, which honestly I was going to use the tree, but it was a little bit bigger than the sign. So I made another one using the Dollar Tree vinyl, and I made it thinner so it can fit on the sign. Before I add the tree, I will be adding this Merry Christmas sign that I cut out using my Cricut. Now I'm going to add the tree, but first I'm going to make the trunk, and I use this paint marker. I made a jute twine bow and added it to the tree. I then used the same string and some Dollar Tree beads to add it to the hanger. And that is it for this beautiful Merry Christmas sign, which it turned out so beautiful and it looks so high-end. For my next project, I will be using 3 of these Dollar Tree signs. I'm going to start off by removing the tag, and then I'm going to take these apart. Now mine were very easy to take apart. I don't know if they weren't glued right, but I had no trouble taking these apart. Once I had removed the back, I then flipped them around and I used the Dollar Tree vinyl. I'm using the buffalo check, the red and the black, and the white and the black, which there's only 3 of them, so I'm going to do 2 white and black and 1 red and black. Once I am done adding the vinyl, I'm going to add the little frame that came with it and just glue it back on there. And look how beautiful these look. Like, honestly, you can add whatever you like to them. I will be adding some of these Dollar Tree wood planks, which I did have to cut in half so they can fit in there. I only needed 3 small little squares. So once I am done cutting this, I'm going to glue them to the center. I didn't paint these either. I just left them the plain wood color. I then used the Dollar Tree poster sticker letters to add the word joy. Now I didn't have an O, so I just improvised and used a Q and make it into an O. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to put my signs together using the beads that came with the signs and these strings that I got from some Dollar Tree signs, which these have these little plastic things on the end, so it's easy for you to add the beads and it's easy for you to add them to the sign. But anyways, I started off by adding all of the beads, but I didn't like how that looked, so I did remove most of them and only left 8 beads to the Y and the O sign. For the J, I did leave most of the beads on there because that is the main one that is going to hang the sign. Now the way I glue these, where I flipped the signs around and I added a popsicle stick to the back. And that is it, guys. Look how beautiful this joy sign turned out. Starting with my favorite DIY from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use that 11 by 14 inch canvas, and for wood pieces, 2 of them are 18 inch and 2 of them are 12 inch. I will be making a wood frame with the pieces, so now I'm going to just put them around the canvas, and as you can see, the two 12 inches are way too big, So I am going to measure them and then I'm going to cut them.
It's cold outside.
I then glue these together to make the frame, and I used the Dollar Tree wood glue.
Fire keeps us warm. We can spend the night underneath the mistletoe. And I've gotten you a present that I put under
I then let this dry for about 2 hours, and then I went ahead and used the Waverly Antique Wax to paint this.
the tree. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me.
Now I'm going to just remove the plastic from the canvas, and then I'm going to glue the canvas to the frame. I did have to use some popsicle sticks on the back for extra support.
The snow is falling down, and the storm is on its way. But as long as you're around,
And now I have a blank canvas. Now you can add whatever you like to this. What I decided to do is use a buffalo check paper with a Christmas tree that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to just use this as a stencil. So I'm tracing it, cutting it, then I'm going to glue it to my canvas. And that is all I'm doing. You can always just decorate it a little more by adding some greenery, bows, or just some writing underneath the tree. And that is it for this beautiful Christmas decor sign. It was so easy and so inexpensive to make. For my next DIY, I will be using 4 of these Dollar Tree square wood pieces.
as long as you're around.
I will be making a box with these, so I'm going to glue these together, and I'm using a combination of hot glue and the Dollar Tree wood glue.
Everything will be okay. 'Cause all I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you.
And for the bottom, I'm using some large popsicle sticks. These are from Lowe's. They were 99 cents. So now I'm going to just place them together side by side. Then I'm going to put the box right on top, trace it, and then cut the sticks. To decorate the planter, you can use so many different things. My first plan was to make this a little box so I can add a Christmas tree. And I actually did do it, but the Christmas tree was way too small because I did use one of the Dollar Tree ones. So I'm going to wait till I go to Walmart and find like a bigger tree so I can add it. I then use hot glue to glue these. Now, I guess I measured them wrong because after I had finished gluing them, there was some popsicle left over. So all I did was just cut it off, and that was it. The next thing I did was just paint this using the Waverly Antique Wax. Once I was finished, I then used this beautiful ornament that I got from the Dollar General, and I glued it in the front. But I didn't glue the whole entire ornament. I just used a little string, so like that I can remove this and use this all year round. For my next DIY, I will be using this 10-inch wood piece that I got from Dollar Tree, and this, I don't know if it's a napkin holder or a planter. I don't know what this is, but This is also from Dollar Tree. I'm going to start by taking this apart.
Have you for myself in a cabin out of nowhere. Just
Then I'm going to use this beautiful fa la la paper that I got from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to trace one of the Christmas trees, and then I'm going to use the buffalo check paper to trace the other Christmas tree. I didn't trace the trunk because I'm going to paint that.
I know ornaments. I've decorated everything to be perfect for this week. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me. Another year went by, but the difference is
Now I will be using the Elmer's glue stick to glue the paper to the little Christmas trees. Well, I was supposed to paint the trunk first, but then I had already glued the fa la la paper when I realized that I hadn't painted those. So then I just lifted it up and painted it, and then I painted the other Christmas tree before I glued the buffalo check paper. I use a mixture of the antique wax with black paint.
is that ever since July, I've been happier than I
And for the wood piece, I'm going to use the Waverly antique wax.
have ever been. It's safe to say that my love for you is true. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first.
I will be gluing the Christmas trees to the little wood piece, so I'm going to use 2 Jenga blocks, glue them on each tree, then glue the trees to the wood piece.
For me and you, I've longed for this moment to have you for myself in a cabin out of nowhere.
And that is it for this beautiful Christmas tabletop decor. For my next DIY, I'm using this wood picture frame that I got from Dollar Tree and a little square wood plank. I'm going to start by painting the picture frame using the Waverly antique wax.
Just us and no one else. I've decorated everything to be perfect for this week. Tomorrow.
Then I'm going to just trace the wood piece on the paper, cut it, then glue it using the Elmer's glue stick.
Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me.
Using this Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon, I will be making the square look like a present. As you can see, I'm not gonna wrap it around the entire thing. I did cut it so like that I don't waste some of that ribbon. With the same ribbon, I will be making a small double bow.
Cause all I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you. I've longed for this moment.
And before I add the bow, I will be adding these little small greeneries. I removed these from these little small wreaths that Dollar Tree is carrying, and then I did just place them underneath the ribbon. I didn't glue them. The ribbon was very tight that it did hold them. Now I'm going to just glue the bow in the center. The next thing I will be doing is gluing the present right on top of the heart. This is going to cover it. And I'm adding Merry Christmas on the side. I did use my Cricut for this. You can use Dollar Tree stickers if you like.
Have you for myself in a cabin out of nowhere. Just us
And that is it for this beautiful Merry Christmas sign. going to use 4 of these beautiful 4x4 picture frames that I got from Dollar Tree. I will be removing the plastic and the little picture in the inside from all 4 picture frames. I'm also removing the little back stand. Then using the back, I'm going to trace it into a Hobby Lobby buffalo check scrapbook paper, and I'm going to do that 4 times. Once I am done tracing all 4 of them, now I'm going to cut them, and then I'm going to place them inside the picture frame. Just like if they were pictures, I usually glue them to either the back piece or the glass, but this time I decided not to. I'm going to just place them inside. And look how beautiful they look. Now I'm going to make these into one large sign, and I'm going to do that by gluing them side by side. I'm only using hot glue for mine. You can use E6000, and because I'm using hot glue, I will be adding some popsicle sticks on the back for extra support. I will be adding the word Noel, and I will be using these burlap letters that I got from Walmart. They were under $3, and I'm only using the N, the E, and the L. For the O, I will be using this snowflake, and this comes from a Dollar Tree pack. Once I had glued all the letters, I then decided to paint the snowflake using some white chalk paint. And then the last thing I will be doing is just adding a jute twine bow to the snowflake. And that is it for this beautiful large Noel sign. For my next DIY, I will be using this wooden circle that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now, I know a lot of people can't find these, so if you can't, not Dollar Tree, Hobby Lobby does carry some, or I bought some on Amazon, so I'll have the link down in the description box in case you want to check them out. Now, I wanted this sign to be like almost, not exactly the same color as a picture frame, but like a resemblance to that. So I did mix several paints to try to get that color. I did mix some brown, black, and a little bit of white. I then used this stipple paintbrush to paint the entire thing. I did try to kind of dry paint it, but not really. I did still want some of that wood color to peek through. And then all I did was just use a napkin to go over it just to make it a little bit lighter. Then I decided to add a little bit of more white. I then added way too much white, so I did go back over it with the same mixture I did. So I basically just kept playing around with it until I liked the color. I made a border to this using a sponge in the color ivory. Now the next thing I will be using is this Dollar Tree wood Christmas tree. I'm going to paint it using the color ivory. To decorate my tree, I will be using the same scrapbook paper, and I'm going to just place it right on top of the tree, and I'm going to press it down in the center so like that it can crease, and then I can cut it. Then using the Elmer's glue stick, I'm going to just glue that little paper to the Christmas tree. I felt like it looked too plain, so I decided to add some jute twine to the top and to the bottom. To dress up the tree a little more, I decided to do a jute twine bow and add it to the tree. Once I was finished, I glued the tree to my sign. I will be adding Be Merry, but I'm using these Walmart wood letters instead than the ones from Dollar Tree. That is only because I do not have enough letters. So I wish I did though, because they are bigger than these. Now the last thing I will be doing is just adding the jute string back to the sign. And that is it for this beautiful rustic Be Merry Christmas sign. For my next DIY, I will be using one of these Dollar Tree bandanas, and then I'm going to recycle this wood, it's not a wood box, sorry, this box, and I'm going to just basically wrap the box with this bandana, but I'm not wrapping that entire thing, so I decided to glue these pieces inside the box so the bottom is empty. It's going to be a little hard for me to explain how I did this, but I did start by gluing the sides first, and as you can see, I am going to glue them on the inside of the box, and then I will be doing the sides. I am folding the sides like if I'm folding like a gift, if that makes sense, but I wish I did it differently, because by me doing this, it kind of makes it look a little bit bulky on the sides, and I kind of didn't like that. Once I am done gluing everything, I then use some burlap ribbon, and the one I'm using is from Dollar General. It was $2. Dollar Tree does carry some burlap ribbon you can use. Now I'm going to glue it like this, one side first and then the other side, so like that I don't waste my ribbon going around the entire thing. To finish decorating this, I will be using this beautiful Christmas pick that I got from Walmart. It was $1.47. This does have a little clip. I removed it and then I did fold the wire so like that I can just basically hang it, or not hang it, just put it there where the other string is at. The next thing I did was make a bow using the same burlap ribbon, and then I added to the side. And that is it for this beautiful Christmas gift decor. My next DIY is going to be very easy and simple to do. From Dollar Tree, I'm going to use these beautiful tags. I'm going to start by removing the string and the greenery. I tried to do this very careful, but I still peeled some of the paper off. I will be fixing that later on. So I'm going to just glue these together using hot glue. I then grabbed a whole bunch of little picks that I had, and then I started to just tie them together using the same wire. I used some berries, and then once I had them all together, I used some jute string to tie them in the center. Before I glue this, I'm going to use some black paint to go over where I peeled some of the paper, and then use some of the Tuscan red to go over the red one. I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. Then I'm going to put the string back on before I glue it. Once I have the string, I then use a whole bunch of hot glue to glue this. To finish this off, I will be adding a double bow. I will be using the same burlap ribbon, and then I'm going to make another bow using the buffalo check Dollar Tree ribbon, and all I'm doing is just gluing it right on top of it, and this is how my double bow will be. Next thing I'll be doing is just gluing this in the center of my little greenery. This Dollar Tree wood hanging decor sign, I'm going to remove the tag and the string, but I'm saving the string because I am going to put it back on later on. The next thing I will be doing is just painting this using the Waverly Antique Wax, and I did add a little bit of water just to make this a little bit lighter. Once I am done, I'm going to use a piece of transfer tape and place it on top and then peel it. Now, because I'm using different trees, I will be cutting the middle tree off and the other two trees that are in the middle of the other two trees. And I'm doing this very, very careful because you can always reuse these. So I am placing them back on the plastic. And now I have these extra trees I will be saving. I'm going to bring back the wood sign and carefully place the image in the center and then use a scraper to start transferring it. I went back to Cricut Design Space and searched for Christmas trees, and I found this trio of trees, and I did have to size them to like a width of 1.5 inches, and then the height was going to be between 4 and 5 inches because on the regular trees the middle size was kind of bigger, so I just made the bigger one 5 inches. And for the vinyl, I will be showing you later on which one I use, but it is a buffalo check vinyl that I got from Cricut, and I am going to just transfer them on the empty spaces. I'm doing the 2 small ones on the side and the bigger one in the center. And the last thing I did is put the string back on the sign. And that is it for this beautiful 'Tis the Season wood decor sign that was very easy to make. For my next DIY, I'm going to use 2 of these wooden rulers that I got from Dollar Tree and this 8x8 canvas. I'm going to start by removing the plastic from the rulers, which is very easy to do. Then I'm going to just place the canvas right on top of it, so like that I can measure them, and I am going to cut them because they are a little too big. I'm going to stain them using the Waverly Antique Wax, and I did add a little bit of water, so like that it is light and it matches my other DIY. Before I glue them to the canvas, I do want to make holes to one of them, so like that I can use that as a top piece, and I'm going to add a string for the hanger. Once I am done doing the holes, I will be using some hot glue to glue this, one at the top and one at the bottom. And now I have this buffalo check deer head. I'm going to just cut it around it, and then I'm going to weed it out. Using the transfer tape, I'm going to just place it right on top like this, and then I'm going to press on it. Once I have it ready, I'm going to peel it off and then place it right on my canvas and transfer it. And look how beautiful this looks. Now I do want to decorate this a little more, so I'm using this pine cone greenery pick that I got from Walmart. It was 97 cents. I did cut 2 stems off and then I tied them in the center. I'm going to use some hot glue to glue this, and then I'm going to make a bow using this ribbon. The last thing I will be doing is adding a piece of jute string on the top to make this into a hanger. And that is it for this beautiful deer head Christmas decor sign. For my next DIY, I'm going to customize these large Dollar Tree ornaments that can be great for gifts. Now I'm going to go back to my Cricut design space. I did design my own names and I used the font Annie Lou. The size of the letters were 3 inches by 1.5 inches. Now I do want to talk about both of the machines. Now both of the Cricut Maker and the Maker 3 can use the same tools. They both have the same strength and can cut the same materials. The main difference between both machines is that the Maker 3 will allow you to cut without a Cricut mat and 2 times faster when working with smart materials. So if you want my honest opinion, if I was to choose between the Maker and the Maker 3, I would definitely go with the Maker 3 just because you do not need a mat for this and it makes it so much easier to make large DIYs. Once I was done weeding the name, I then used some transfer tape so like that I can transfer it to the ornament, and I'm going to place it in the middle of the ornament. One thing I did do first was clean my ornament and then I transferred it. So I know I said in the middle, but I meant in the center, and this was very easy and simple to do. And look how beautiful this is already turning out. Now to decorate this a little more, I'm using some Walmart picks, this beautiful pine cone pick, and I'm going to remove some stems and then I'm going to just tie them together. When I tied these, I did make sure I had a long piece of string, so like that, the same string I can use to wrap it around the ornament. I removed the little cap to tie this, but you didn't have to because I didn't do it to the other ornaments. Now, once I had it tied, I then put the little cap back on, and then I made a bow using this buffalo check ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree. And now I'm going to repeat it to the other ornaments, but they're going to just be different names. And that is it for these beautiful customized ornaments, which I think turn out beautiful and they're absolutely my favorite. going to use this Dollar General Hello Sunshine sign. And this was $2, but I did get it after the summer, so it cost me, I think, 50 cents. I'm not sure, but it was 75% off. And all I'm doing is just going to cover the Hello Sunshine using this buffalo check paper that I got from Hobby Lobby. And as you can see, it isn't long enough, so I am going to just cut the first piece, and then I will be attaching another little piece to finish it off. And I accidentally cut it too small, so I do go back and paint only like the edges using some red paint. Once it was dried, I used the Elmer's glue spray. I got this from Dollar Tree, and I just used that because I ran out of my glue stick, and it works perfectly fine. You just have to like work fast because it dries pretty fast. I will be adding the word joy, and I'm using these Dollar General wood letters. They cost me $1, so I'm only using the J and the Y, and for the O I'm gonna use this snowflake that came from a Dollar Tree little pack. To cover the little hole, I decided to make a jute twine bow and then add it there. And that is it for this beautiful joy sign. For my next DIY, I'm going to be transforming this artichoke sign that I got from Hobby Lobby on clearance for $2.99. So I'm going to cover the picture using the buffalo check paper, and I am going to just place it on top and start pressing on it so like that it can crease and I know where to cut. So I accidentally cut this uneven, and I'm going to fix that up by just painting all the edges just like I did on my first DIY. This time I'm using some black paint, and then I'm going to just let it dry and then use the same little spray adhesive that I got from the Dollar Tree and sprayed it and then just glue the paper. The trees I will be using to decorate my sign are these wooden trees that I got from Dollar General. There's 3 different sizes. So I will be gluing the medium one in the center and the 2 small ones on the sides. And to finish these off, I will be making some jute twine little bows and then just add them to the top. And that is it for this beautiful Christmas sign. For my next DIY, I'm using these Dollar Tree gift boxes to come in this little pack, and I'm using the smaller one without the top piece. Now I'm using the trees from the little kit that I got from Dollar General, and I'm using the bigger ones. All I did was just put them together, And I'm using a score stick from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start by just placing a piece of the floral foam inside the box. To cover everything up, I'm using some garland. Now, I should have added rocks so like this it doesn't fall. I mean, the tree is not heavy, but if you want to like move it around, it's better for you to add a couple of rocks inside the box. Now, the next thing I did was just add the score stick to the wooden tree, and I didn't paint it or anything, and I didn't paint the tree either. I just left it the wood color and I placed it in the center. To cover where you can see the foam, I decided to add some greenery picks. Well, this one right here, I cut some stems off from a Dollar Tree one. And to finish it off, I added a bow at the top of the tree. And that is it for this tree. For my next DIY, I will be using this whitewash plank that I got from Dollar General. It was $2. So I'm going to start by removing the rope, and then I'm going to turn it vertical and then add some ribbon at the bottom. This ribbon is from Dollar Tree. It is the buffalo check one. The next thing I will be adding is the leftover wood tree, which is the medium size. And I'm adding this farm fresh little wood sign that I got from a Dollar Tree pack. To decorate the bottom a little more, I'm adding this little greenery with the bow that I removed from a Dollar Tree tag. And to finish this off, I will be making a little star using the buffalo check paper so I can add it to the tree. And that is it for this beautiful farm fresh sign. The next thing I will be doing is very easy and simple. From Dollar General, I picked up one of these believe signs. It was $2. I removed the sticker and I left it the color it is. All I did was just use a leftover little greenery with a bow that I removed from a Dollar Tree tag, and I glued it to the eye. And that is basically it, guys. Going to use this beautiful sign that I got from Hobby Lobby. This was on clearance for $3.74. I'm going to use a scent sheet to just send out where it says just love, just so when I paint this I don't have to give it so many coats to cover this.
Go outside. The snow.
I will be painting that entire thing just so it doesn't look like I have a little patch where I went over it like that. It's going to look all nice and even. And I am using the Waverly chalk paint from Walmart. And this is how it looks after I went over it like 3 times. Now I'm going to use my Cricut to cut out the word Merry Christmas, and I'm going to add it to the bottom of my sign. Now this sign, you can use it vertical or horizontal, whichever you prefer.
Falling down and every child is having so much fun. The snowman is twice the size as me with a smile as quirky as mine. We're holding hands.
So this sign does have like the lines, so I'm going to press where the H and the M are at, and that is it. Now the next thing I will be doing is a wreath. I'm using some Hobby Lobby wire tape. I think this is what it's called, or something like that. And I'm using some jute wire cord from Dollar Tree, and the greenery I'm using is from Michael's. I got it last year after Christmas. It was on clearance. To make the wreath, I'm going to cut a piece of this jute wire cord and make it into a circle. Now this next step is going to be a little bit hard for me to explain, but all I did is use some of the tape and wrapped it around the jute cord, and then here and there I added the greenery. But when I added the greenery, I did only wrap like the end of it, and then I just did it I went all around the little wreath.
Keep each other warm while we stand and watch a choir performing all the Christmas songs that we love. Yeah, all the Christmas songs that we love. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire. 'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you.
And this is how the wreath looks. Now I'm going to use some of this Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon, and I'm going to cut a little small piece and add it to the wreath and make like a little hanger. Then I'm going to glue this little hanger to my sign.
Let me give you a Christmas, a moment we'll fill with love and joy. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you.
And that is it for this transformation. I think this Merry Christmas sign turned out so beautiful, and it looks so high-end. For my next DIY, I'm going to use this beautiful wood sign that I got from Michael's. It was on clearance. I got it after the 4th of July. I don't remember exactly how much it cost, but I know it was like under $4. I will be making 2 signs out of this. And the next thing I will be using is this Merry Christmas sign that I got from Hobby Lobby. Now it's $3.99, but I got it when it was 50% off, so it cost me $2. Which I think is great. It is a large sign and it's wood. So I'm going to start by just painting this using some white chalk paint.
I don't need any presents as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with.
And like I said, I will be making this into 2 signs. So I did cut the wood sign, and now I'm going to paint it using this stain, which I'll have it linked down in the description box because I don't remember what's it called, but it's a beautiful color. Now that it's nice and dry, all I'm doing is gluing the Merry Christmas sign to this, and that is basically it. This is so simple, but yeah, it looks so high-end and it was so inexpensive to make. For my next DIY, I'm using the other piece of the sign, and I did stain it using the same color. Now from Hobby Lobby, I'm going to use one of these wood signs that says Joy to the World. It is $3.99, but I got it for $2. Right now they are 50% off. So I'm going to start by painting the wreath white and Joy to the World. I'm going to paint it red. I forgot to mention that 3 of these signs come in the pack. The next thing I will be doing is just gluing the sign to this, and I'm going to add some greenery and a buffalo check. The greenery I'm using is some of that same greenery I used in my first DIY. I removed 2 of the little stems and then just glued them.
Making plans for what we're gonna do. I feel so blessed that I can be with you. 'Cause God knows that I've been longing for you. Just wanna hold you close. You know the stars are shining just for you. Let's take a walk and we can follow the moonlight till we reach a place we can stay. Maybe kiss a bit and dream away. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire. 'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas moment we'll fill with love.
I did try to cover the hole with the bow, but I wasn't able to, as you can see. So all I'm doing is just adding some white paint to that, and that is going to like camouflage it. And that is it. Now the last thing I did was just add this bead hanger that I had removed from a Dollar Tree sign. And that is it for this sign. I think it turned out so beautiful. My next DIY is absolutely my favorite. Now from Hobby Lobby, I'm going to use these huge letters that were $3.49, but I did get them on clearance for 87 cents each.
Enjoy, so beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby with you. I don't need.
I'm going to start by painting the letters, and I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in the color white. Now I am going to use the dry brush technique, but this time is a dry sponge. In this case, it's a sponge, but I do want these to look more rustic and old, or more like a whitewash. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but I do want them to look farmhouse.
Any presents, as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby with you. Ooh, and in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire.
So the next thing I will be using are these wood circles that I got from Amazon. I have the link down in the description box in case you want to check them out. Now Hobby Lobby does sell these. I will be using 3 in total, and I'm going to stain them using the same stain I have been using. And look how beautiful the color is. Once everything's dry, I'm going to glue 1 letter to each circle, and I'm using hot glue. Now you can use wood glue if you like.
'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you.
To decorate them, I will be using these bows. These are from Dollar General. The pack is $1, and I'm using this beautiful greenery. It's a filler thing that I got from Target, which it cost me $3. This has 6 of these stems, so I'm using 2 on each circle. I will not be using the berries. I'm only using the greenery. So I'm going to place both of the greenery side by side, and I'm using the bow because I'm using the little wire that the bow has so I can tie them together. Once everything's nice and tied, I'm going to just glue this right on top of the J. And that is it. I'm going to repeat the same thing to the rest of the circles.
Stay with you. Let me give you a Christmas moment we'll fill with love and joy. Loving so beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. I don't need any presents as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you.
The last thing I will be doing is adding some little hangers on the back using some jute twine. And that is it for these beautiful decor signs, which is absolutely my favorite ones. And what I love about this is that you can use this either vertical or horizontal. And that is it. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Let me know down in the comment section which one was your favorite, because I would love to know. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.